Hey boys, how's everybody feeling? Everybody in a chipper mood today?
Why would you ask that?
Does anybody have any? Does anybody have any like really
What's wrong
spicy
with you?
takes they want to start us off with?
Like, what are you looking for?
Well, I mean, everybody like after the game
I'm
on Saturday,
sad.
yeah, everybody was pretty spicy. So I just didn't know if like the last 24 hours have mellowed anyone out a bit. Still pretty
No,
hot.
I was spicy during the game, and the second the game got over, I was not spicy anymore. And
Oh, I was spicy.
it's
Sorry, you
because I
go.
started going through my mentions and seeing, and I'm sure we'll get to this, but just the absolute, I don't even know what to call it, just fire spit at Bill Self.
It was different.
I found myself, instead of being pissed off at KU or even Self, who has like legitimate gripes, I found myself just defending against crazies online, which kind of like dulls the pain because then you're talking to crazies instead of thinking about the game.
Well, you think about it like a normal post game reaction when people are really hot. It's generally like the Houston game. How did we blow that? What happened? This guy effed up. That guy effed up. This one felt like it was a build up that was leading to the reaction to the Baylor loss. Even though it was just as perplexing as the Houston game, maybe not quite as much, but being up 21, getting outscored by 30 in the second half, that should be like a what the f happened, but it was more about big picture. I'm very sad and I'm very scared with this program right now.
I just swung wildly back and forth in directions on this because there are things that happened, and we will get into those that are like very odd and like very clear. I think as far as like those were some probably like poor moments for the team and the way that rotations or play calls were handled. Like that's I know that's a thing fans do. Nick, you're gonna be hot. Like that's fine. There were a couple moments that like I feel very strongly about. At the same time, it's like what they're it's not that bad right now. And like even if it is,
Correct.
even if they end up like sucking this year, like look at you zoom out a little bit and look at like what is standard for college basketball. And I know it's like we don't hold to what's standard, but I'm saying of the elite programs, even like what's standard, and we're still flying like far above the absolute outlier bottom. And if like it was probably bound to happen at some point in this run. But at the same time, then I go back and think about the specifics, and I'm like, yeah, but what the fuck? I don't know if I can say that. I don't know if I can do that in the first 5 minutes on this platform. Nick, can I drop f bombs? What just happened? Did we
You need to wait at least another 60 seconds.
heard
Can
that
you
before?
can you hold that? What
No.
if we go to somebody else and then we come back to you?
Same
No?
answer I always give. Can't hold it.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right,
It's
over to you,
happening.
Tian.
Show it
Three,
then.
two, 1. um, are you saying that we're just due? We're due for
I'm just saying, like,
one of these, like a 7 seed, because we've gotten away with so much for so long, such an incredible sustained excellence that
I don't know. No, I'm saying I
this is bound to
swing.
happen.
I try to like. This is me trying to like self-soothe because it's bad and concerning for a number of reasons. Like that's basically it. Like I swing wildly between being really mad, confused, sad, and being like it's all right. And yes, my background is Mordor. I saw
Aren't you
just
glad it
songs.
happened now, though? Like, this is bad. What we just saw was not good. Like, there were obvious flaws. in what was happening in that game. And the adjustments were not there. Fact. True. All that can be true. But it's February like 2nd. Like we have some time to clean up. And you're right on everything you said, Mike. We should have beat Houston. We were up 6 with whatever seconds left in the game. Houston's a really good team. We were up 20 on the road at Baylor. Baylor's not great, but like we were up 20 on the road against Baylor. Like bad teams don't do those things. Like they're still a good team. They are just not playing well. And they're playing stupid. And they have weird rotations. And all that is true. But like they were still the preseason number 1 team here. Like, let's not go crazy with all this. You can be pissed off itself. Totally get it. I was pissed off itself too. But like some of the stuff going on right now, like if people talking about, I saw more mentions. You can search at Jayhawk Talk and Rock Bottom. So many people. I was like, this is hot Rock Bottom. Get the hell out of here. Like, let me show you Rock Bottom. It does not look like this.
I mean, I saw, somebody saying the game has passed Bill by. I'm sure
I got a lot of that.
We're going to get into that.
I have takes.
Before we do get into that, I would like, yes, there's some questionable stuff. The KJ, the pick and rolls, back to back. I don't know. There's some questionable things happening. But are you sure about that? Are you sure you want to take that side of the bet that he's just a worthless has-been? Think about it. Think about everything that's happened and just be sure that you're taking the right side of that bet.
So bad.
Everyone, moment of silence while everybody ponders that.
Yeah. That was probably the most, you said rock bottom for you, Mech. The phrase that was tweeted at me the most yesterday was game has passed him by.
Yep. I got that one a lot. Maybe it's the same people just talking to both of us.
It might be. It might be.
I mean, yeah, that's very likely. Let's call it what it is.
But it was a lot. Like it happened. This was not a small sample size. I turned off my mentions. Like it got so bad. I didn't even say that much. Although I did tweet just quotes of Bill Self post game, that's what really caused it.
I mean, do we want to get into like some of the post game stuff or like the hottest takes, or is there like context setting, Nick, that you want to do? Because I started calm in the middle, but I have heat.
Yeah, I want to get to all of that stuff that you just mentioned, but I think the context, and Mike has a volcano background.
It's Mordor.
Oh, Mordor. So when he dips off screen like he just did, it was just Mordor. So we can get into all the post game stuff, but I think the big question, a very vague question, is like what is going on with Bill? Because the thing that I just have not quite been able to get to click is that for weeks now, I've heard a lot of the same takes, and this isn't even to say that they're wrong, but that Bill plays favorites and he just can't get over KJ and he's playing the wrong guys. Like he's not playing the guys who deserve it. He's not playing the guys who give them the best chance to win. And if I go down that road, let's just say, for instance, okay, you're right. All that stuff is true. But if I go down that road, the part that is a hang up for me is why? If it's so simple to all of us, the thousands of us that are watching KU every single game, that we see it black and white, this guy shouldn't play, that guy should, this guy's better, he gives you a better chance to win, how can Bill not see it? If it's that simple, then how can one of the best basketball minds on the planet not see it? That's the part to me that I don't understand yet. And I don't understand why it's so simple to everyone watching, yet time after time, Bill's looking to number 24 and saying, get in there and stay in there.
Bill is, I mean, I've tried to have a lot of conversations and a lot of people who have spent a lot of time with KU in the past, I would say, are very close, like generally they're all kind of confused. I'm not gonna lie, like they see it too, and generally, like what I know about Bill is he likes to be in control. He doesn't compromise on his beliefs or values, and KJ or Dewan are two players who will do exactly what he wants in a game setting. And when he's hitting adversity, he's reverting to those two. And I think the control has benefited him for a long, long time and in a lot of situations. But this is an extreme situation, or like the outlier I already kind of said. And he just got to like let Jesus take the wheel. You're like, let go for a little bit, just a teeny bit in some ways, because it's when that adversity hits. And he can talk all off season about we're going to be better, we're going to get more athletic, we're going to put shooters around KJ. But when things start getting hot, when the heat of the game clicks on, he reverts, and he is not willing, I don't think, to relinquish that control. And it has backfired this year, and I think that's got a lot to do with it. And maybe he can stomach losing with the guys he can do it right, and he cannot stomach with the guys who will not do it what he views as the right way. I don't know. This dude loves winning more than anyone I've also am aware of on the planet. So that's where I struggle. That's where A plus B doesn't equal C.
If we fast forward a month and it's still the same story, then I'm actually right back with the mentions. I'm willing to give the man a little bit of grace, which I think we all should.
Yeah.
Given the amount of grace that the man has built up, he's got a pretty good track record. That said, if we don't see changes, it's going to be really tough to defend. It's going to be really tough to defend. And we've talked about this a few times already, but yeah, this had to be, because you had two heartbreaking things in a row. And there are things you can point to directly as, causation's tough here, right? But there's enough for, back to your point, Nick, all of us can see it. Why can't he see it? Well, you haven't been hurt enough yet. This might have been enough. And if it's not, then I'm willing to.
He tried.
How many minutes did Flory play in the second half? Do you know, Mike?
4.
It wasn't many. 4, 5,
4, I believe.
I thought it was 6, but it might be 4.
The most any one single lineup played, I think, was 6 minutes, which is actually insane. I was trying to get context, and I haven't gotten there yet.
So it was the same thing as the UCF game.
Abnormal.
Same thing as the UCF game, where it was just every 2 minutes he was putting a different lineup combination.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a guy who's just
worse.
guessing.
It was worse.
It sounds like a guy who is out there just guessing. There is no real strategy. There is no real, this is my core. This is what's going to work against this team. It's let's try this one. Let's try 2 bigs. Let's try 3 bigs. Let's try 3 point guards. Let's try no point guards.
But we won't try to put back in our basically best player.
No, that's going too far, Mike. He'll try a lot of things, but he won't do that. I will say this, the take all year of, because this has been going on all year, this guy needs to play and KJ needs to play less. It's been a revolving door. At first it was AJ, and then it became Rylan, and now it's Flory. This is the one that to me is the most perplexing. Not just because of who Flory is, but because of how well they played with him out there and how well they've been playing with them out there. The stuff with Rylan and AJ, that was all based in theory. that was like, well, in theory, they're better shooters. So in theory, it will open up the offense. Flory is not based in theory. It's based in reality. We have the data to back it up. It's not just like, yeah, we saw him play last year. It's like, no, we saw him play last week and the week before that, and he's looked like one of your best players. That's the one to me that I cannot understand.
The numbers back it up like very clearly at this point.
At this point, do we say that the numbers are lying? The numbers are lying to us?
No.
Because
they're not.
Ken Palm still has KU number 10. Anybody believe that? Anybody believe that there are only 9 teams better than Kansas?
That's us saying it's not that bad. They have played great in stretches for an extended period of time, but a little bit of pressure comes on them and things get out of whack, or they start wobbling, and Bill wobbles with them. He has not been steadying. And
Wobbly
that's
Bill?
pretty hard
Is
to
that what
swallow.
you're saying?
You like Sleepy
No,
Bill?
don't do this.
Sleepy Bill? But like
I kind of like Wobbly Bill.
Wobbly Bill. He's wobbling again. There he goes.
Well, when things get tight, the team is not made up for it. Like this team is not designed for that. You have a pass first point guard who, when he feels like has to take the game over or do something, he will, but he's not good at it, and it just doesn't work. It's not effective. But when he's within the offense, when he's within himself and doing the things he does, he's actually pretty good. But when the game gets tight, he feels like, and I think KJ to some extent feels like, they're the leaders. We're supposed to be the ones to go do these things that all these other leaders before us have done when the game gets tight, but they're not constructed for that freaking thing. We don't have that. That's not what they are.
They're incapable.
They are not. It's not them. It is not their skill set. It's completely not. And the fact that they are out there trying to do those things, like you can point all directions you want, but like construction is the problem. He's not going to bench Juan at the end of the game, and he shouldn't, by the way. But
How about
there
the
are
other guy?
options that make more sense there. There just are. Like, he has to see it.
I mean, I don't want to get into the players yet. I do think there's some accountability, but like they've been put, and we have said this, they've been put in a pretty bad spot.
You know,
I really think KJ's been put in a bad spot. Generally.
Get better.
But what's the bad spot? That like he's not good, so he shouldn't.
You're playing him
like being on the court is the
incredible
bad spot.
Playing him so much
I think that's right.
in the combination of who it's
31
with.
Yeah.
But so here's the thing that's not quite adding up is I'm with everybody. Like
getting
Flory
pissed.
not being out there is worse than any gripe you've had about Ryland not playing. It's worse than any gripe you've had about AJ Storr not playing. Flory on Saturday was worse than all of them because Flory is good. We know that. We've seen it. He makes the team better. The part, like, I don't think Flory not playing in the second half is the reason the Baylor scored 60. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't get outscored by 30 because of one guy. If so, that would make either Flory or KJ or the combination of them the most impactful combination switch, like lineup switch ever. That's not the reason for the 30-point swing. The reason for the 30-point swing is what Mac just talked about, which is that this team sucks. Like, I don't think you said that, but like that's my interpretation. This team sucks.
Wobble. They can't handle when things get
Constructed
tight.
for that. They're not. It's not built for that.
What is that? Or beating a press?
That's part of it.
Oh.
But the other thing is, and someone just like questioned the mental toughness, and we've talked about that. I think, I don't know, 3 or 4 shows now in a row. We just said they're mentally soft. Like, you can't have that happen. Those things happen. That's just soft. Like, I don't care who you are, what you are, how good you are. You can't let those things happen. That's one thing. But at the same time, when you have a guy who's lighting you up and you have a team that is putting a 60-30 burger on you, you go hard foul somebody. Go do something. Show up. Do something that shows that you give a shit. Like, that's what I want to see. I want to see, so like, if we want to question the toughness and question the heart, like, I would love to see a team, like, go down the list of KU greats or even just KU regulars. Would they have ever let that shit happen? Like, pick a player.
They never did. It never happened.
It didn't happen. It just never happened. What is different this time? Is it just different dudes?
I think it's different dudes, but this is kind of my working theory at this point. Either like Bill Self is bad at this now, like all of a sudden he's just bad at this, or there's something going on, and there's a middle ground. I get it. There's got to be more to this story. There has not just the KJ stuff. I'm talking about everything. I'm talking about this team not being good. I'm talking about him trying 20 different lineup combinations every single game. This guy playing, then that guy's playing, then all of a sudden this guy's back on the bench, plays 4 minutes one night, 26 the next night. Does everybody on this team just like hate each other and they all hate Bill and Bill hates all of them? That's my working theory, is that everyone in that locker room is miserable. None of them want to be there. None of them want to be with each other. I think this is the makings of a highly dysfunctional team. It doesn't mean there's like drama going on. It could just mean that like they don't like this and they're not in it.
Yeah,
Just
I know. I think
that's
that's
chemistry.
Yeah.
Just simple.
I think that's generally it. And it includes Bill. Like, we've talked about this. They're not having fun. There's no joy in this game. And where I think like we start talking about it's a combination of things, you have a lot of guys that kind of have their own agenda, right? They're not playing for each other. And we've talked about this. It's not totally necessarily selfish. In the example I would point to is like Zeke Mayo, who's obviously playing hard. I think he cares about playing for Kansas, but he also has like this chip on his shoulder, a little bit of extra pressure, a little bit of extra prove myself. Like, that is an example that I think is the most like a very like kind of harmless one. I would also say your DeJuan and KJ, where I think some fans get frustrated in with those two guys that I do think care about playing for Kansas and maybe don't have their own agenda, though I think KJ like wants to kind of prove that he's the man, this is his time. And I think that might have been a post-game quote from one game this year, even from KJ, behind the scenes. It's my time. Is like, there were obvious areas that needed to improve in both of their games. And anecdotally, and the evidence we've seen is like they haven't done what they should have to improve it. And where a lot of KU basketball players have grown up over the years and like basically locked in. Ochai, Frank, Devontae, 3 easy answers where they took steps. They improved a lot in their time at KU. Like, there's a lot of time spent outside of practice, right? They weren't just showing up for practice as their time in. And like, I don't have any confidence that those guys were doing that. And that's part of where it's a little harder to swallow, I think, too. Where like, it wasn't surprising. That's like the worst kind of part. And we can get into Bill later too, but like for those guys not coming together as a team, like it should have been surprising. It wasn't. It's exactly what you would have guessed it looked like.
Set it off.
Looked like. It's the exact same.
Mike, do you think like, so some of these guys just have limitations, like Ochai and Devontae and Frank can make a leap because they have a base level to build on. KJ and Juan not making a leap, do you think that is a getting shots up, on the weekend at night type thing? Or do you think could that just be they are limited? Like
they've maximized their game. Like
they are what they are.
They have not improved. Like, these were obvious things, and it's mostly like some shooting, basically. And like, I do think that they could have improved it more, based on like what I've again, anecdotally what I've heard and what I've seen. And it's like not, again, that they don't care. When they get in practice, they go as hard as they can. But it is like those guys, I know that those guys like took it so seriously at the end. They were not doing any fun college things and like truly living in the gym, truly doing that in the off seasons. I don't think that's been happening with those two.
So-
and they live with shooting guns in their apartment. So, Tian, back to you.
Weekends?
If they're not doing those things though,
basketball.
I mean, these coaches, not just Bill, all 9 assistants are locked in on what these guys are doing at any given moment. If they're not doing those extra things, then that's the disconnect. How are they still a favorite? How are they still the chosen Bill favorites if they're not working?
Bill, I don't know if he loves all the individual player development stuff. I don't think he loves that time. He wants the energy to be spent toward the team. Not that he doesn't want them like working as a whole, but I just don't think that is going to like really catch his radar. And then again, when push comes to shove of like who's going to do it right, who's not going to like get beat on a dumb rotation, like who will show up no matter what and wants to play. Like I get it, like in a lot of ways, but why are they the favorite? I think a lot of probably the players who are around too have had that question, and Bill is asking them. I kind of said this like he is like, I haven't earned your trust, but like I think that they've questioned their trust in him too, and that's part of it. And it's a little easier to swallow that probably when you're getting paid too, where it's like, well, like they still got to pay me. Sorry, Bill. And I don't know how much of that's in play. I think more of it still would be like, these guys aren't working that hard. Like and you're still just, those are the guys who can't get in trouble in your eyes. And like, so I don't get it. Like, that's kind of what I've heard. They just don't get it. A lot of confusion.
When you go
No
back
buy-in.
to, like the beginning of the one and done era, it was all about, hey, Bill's best teams, they're not going to be filled with, 5-star freshmen. It's a healthy balance, right? It's a healthy mix. How many times do we hear that? Where you've got these talented upperclassmen and then you infuse them with 2 or 3 of these really talented freshmen. The problem, and most of those years have been like some of the best years, but you think back to those seasons and you look at the rosters and you go, okay, well, all the years where he was led by those upperclassmen, like operating word there, talented. And he now has a senior class, and I think he's so used to deferring to these seniors that he kind of missed the part where it's like, it's not Frank, it's not Devontae, it's not Ochai, it's none of these dudes who you would want to build a team around. It's like the guys you got left with, the guys in this era of player movement who decided to stick around. And we've grown accustomed to loving those dudes because they feel a certain way about Kansas that we want all players to feel, and very few do. The problem is, like, those guys do check those boxes. They're just not the dudes you want to build a national championship rotation around. And I think he's having trouble because really, find me another team that was built like that, where your upperclassmen are your worst players. And they're not just like your worst, not like guys who have been on the end of the bench their entire career. They're guys who've been starters.
Turns out there's a reason they're still in college.
Well, right. This isn't
one of the more fatal, like Bill Self mistakes, like it seems, is pretty much like refusing to recruit, probably over KJ. Like I think that was a, like he didn't, and I think that's backfired.
Which is so weird. I know I've told you guys this story a bunch, but like going back to 2023, the year after the title, like they thought Ernest Uday and Zach Clements were going to compete for the starting job. And at no point was like KJ as a starter in the equation. But we remember how that season played out. Like Ernest was not great. Zach was a disaster. And so they just plugged KJ in there. And he even said, KJ said at the time, I think it was with CJ Moore in an interview, he's like, yeah, I know I'm not the starter long term. Like, I know I wasn't brought in here to be the starter, to be the guy. And yet, for 2 years, nobody beat him out. And we could say that's because they didn't recruit over him, but like, it's still the fact. Nobody beat him out. It's shocking to me that a guy whose career started that way, of like, you're never going to start here, I'm never going to start here, he knew it, is now a guy where it's like, well, yeah, you don't take him off the floor, ever.
Earned it.
And you know what's funny about it is like, everyone's made this about like KJ's so bad. KJ doesn't make a ton of negative plays. It's just that the absence of positive ones.
Yeah.
It's the absence of the thing that you need to be like a Final Four team.
Well, he's really he does the things on defense that Bill Self wants him to do, but Flory, this is the thing that I struggle with. But he's a 0 on offense. Flory is not a 0 on defense. Like, I don't care if he misses an assignment, the guy can go erase it from behind. Like, the guy is a help defender like God for some of these guys who also can't defend. So that's where I get the most confused on this, because he talks about how much he loves the way that KJ. Well, the one other thing he says is the ball doesn't stick with KJ in there. That's the other side of it. But it feels it felt kind of sticky in this game. Like, I don't know about you guys, but every time he touched it, it didn't feel like he was moving.
In conference play, mid-range twos and in the paint twos. So not at the rim, basically. Anything mid-range in the paint. KJ is 3 for 23. It's really bad. And in the paint or at the rim, he's 12 for 19. It's not that good of a number either. So we're getting more than half of his shots away from the rim, and he's not making them. And like those, it's really bad. Like, that's pretty much, the ball doesn't stick. Well, like, it's hard to have driving lanes, which is what he wants. He wants these rotations, but like, it is just, they've got to be so easy to defend and play right into other teams' hands here. And then it's like, I just feel bad because I sit here talking about KJ again, and like, they're not that much, like, I don't think they're that much worse necessarily. Like, I don't know. Like, it's not all on him, basically, but it's the easiest thing to zoom in on, especially when you've got Flory on the bench, and I just don't get it.
Play him. Just play Flory. Gotta play him. It's like,
Is it 4 minutes?
you gotta. It's like the comp to me, and I know it's completely unfair. But like, imagine Bill Self just being like, you know what? He's an all-world talent, but we're just gonna sit Joel Embiid. Like, I know he's not that. That's mean. It's unfair. But he's the closest player we've had since then to that.
Honestly, dude, Mike going over those mid-range numbers for KJ makes me think this season's going to end like 2022. What happened in 2022? The guy everybody hated, whom David McCormick makes the game-winning shot. KJ Adams is going to make a 12-footer to
What
win
kind of
KU
shot?
the net. Shot. It's going to be like a shot put, like a heave.
McCormick could shoot, though. I wanted him to shoot threes, remember? I was all about David.
It's not going to be the.
Imagine every
It's not going to be the jumper that we saw against Baylor. It's not going to be that jump shot.
And then every KU fan, every fan is going to have the newspaper, but they're going to have the newspaper printout of KJ Adams taking a jumper, hanging on their wall the rest of their lives.
There he is. There he is, right there.
Is that DMAC? Dude, David McCormick. David McCormick's like one of the funniest players to look back on, because like, it wasn't quite to KJ levels, but it was close. It was very close.
It never made sense, though. It never made sense.
What do you mean?
That people were all up in McCormick.
I think they just thought he was a black hole, which is like funny in comparison. KJ, amongst all the guys in the rotation, like his shots per minute, his shot percentage is the lowest in the entire rotation. Like he's only taking 2 or 3 shots a game. They're just loud. They're loud misses.
Yeah.
McCormick, he took a lot of shots and people were so done with him.
They were. But he's a winner.
Just imagine though the collective screaming and groaning as KJ winds up the shot put with 5 seconds left in the natty down 1. It's just like
Actually,
people
can
are
we
gonna
stop?
go into like
Can we stop all this? I'm having a blood pressure episode.
Yeah, that's a good take. What about so Bill did some weird shit after the game. And a lot of people are just like, Bill doesn't look that animated during games this year. Does he just hate these guys? Like those are things.
Post-game, there is something to this.
What do you think?
Where he's talking about after the game, because you made fun of me, Kevin, for tweeting out Bill Self quotes post-game, but I've always done it.
I love them. I really love them.
It's not for engagement, because I honestly don't give a shit about engagement. Like I could not care less about engagement. I truly mean that. Like I know personally, like personal brand, I don't give a shit. At this point in my life, I just don't care. That said, it's always really interesting to see what he's going to say to like on the 810, like on the radio deal, not the presser. Like everyone else can cover that. I'm not covering. I'm a radio guy, so I'm covering the radio interview, and it's usually the first comments made, because then he goes to the press conference. Although it was the other way around this time, but it doesn't matter. It's usually the first thing people. And when growing up, I would hop in the car, I would drive home to Topeka, and I would listen to the post game, and I would always look forward to the coach interview. All that said, he's different this year in post game. He is different because I listen to every word Bill Self said.
In what way?
He's making excuses. He's not really like taking. I mean, he says the right things like, we have to be better. I have to be better. He says some version of that, but he does not go at these guys. He does not get at the root cause. He does not.
For example, Kevin, like a lot of those post-game interviews, it's the first. That's before he goes and does his presser. So, like, if he is pissed,
he already has the thing he's about to go off on.
Right, and if you have Mad Bill, that's where you usually get the less polished version.
Correct. Yes, and he's working. And this is the time when he's like he gives it to Gurley or whoever the person was back.
Well, no, and I would imagine he's telling, like, if he's really fuming on something, he's going to tell Gurley, "Ask me about this." Mm-hmm. Right. I want to say this.
And none of that's going on. He's just
there's not any. I don't listen to the post-game interviews, so he's not saying any of like, we were just awful tonight. I thought he was terrible. We didn't do that. Worth a nothing like.
The thing that you and I have talked about, Nick, like 10 times, he never says the word. Jesus
soft.
Christ, these guys are freaking soft. We cannot lose that game. Yeah, part of that's on me, but there's no chance that we lose that game. What the hell are we doing? Like, I'm going to run these guys for the next 6 weeks. Like, we're running like crazy until they figure it out. Like, whatever it is, he used to do that kind of stuff. He would get fired up. He'd say stuff. I mean, whatever it was, hit zero of that.
So I have a take on that. And it kind of goes with what I said earlier. I think he knows he doesn't have this team. Like, it's not the idea of, oh, if I start doing that, I'm going to lose them. I think it's the idea of I already don't have them. They're checked out. They're not engaged. They don't like each other. They don't want to be here. And I have to handle this with kitty gloves, because if I start doing that stuff, they're not tough enough to handle it. It will just implode from there. I don't know. It's just a half-baked theory, but there's got to be a reason why he's treating them with kitty gloves. He's never done it in 23 years.
I've never seen it like it.
How does this compare to last year? Did he call them soft last year?
Yes, 100%. He was himself last year. He was himself. This is the first year I've noticed Like, he is not willing to go out on a limb and do all the stuff he's always said about a team.
Because they always, like, the old anecdote with Bill was that he would tear you a new asshole, and then 3 minutes later, he's got his arm around you,
Right, yep.
and he's making you feel like appreciated and loved. And that strategy clearly is not what he's going with this year. And the only explanation I can come up with is because he knows it won't work.
Or he doesn't want to call Dewan and KJ soft, and Hunter, I guess. Those are the favorites.
But the favorites, it's like, you know, when you got a dad coaching his son, like that's the one you go at the hardest because you know they can take it.
He doesn't. I'm telling you, it's weird. It has been weird. And I agree. Like the post game oranges was very like, even tonally, we're like, I tweeted earlier.
Like
Like,
we're
not-
all
I was
mad.
just
Why
like-
aren't you mad? Like that was kind of my take.
Even the vodka joke was like cool, and he's like sitting there making this weird dad, like grandpa joke, which I guess he is, but like, what? You're talking about like halftime oranges? It just was weird, and I think he was trying to be like, you know, keep it calm, right? Sometimes when they have like the worst losses, he would sometimes try to downplay it or diffuse. And then when they have like an ugly win or something, he'll be like, yeah, we played like shit. You know, that he kind of flips it a lot. But it's just all been the diffuse. And I do agree though, like doesn't seem like he has them at all. And it doesn't seem like it seems like he's on the same page as the other guys in the worst way possible. He just keeps fucking throwing things out there. It is so weird.
I would love to see a former like Bill Self 4-year guy, even if it's just like Mitch Lightfoot, doesn't need to be a stud. I would love to see Mitch just like sit in with the team for a week, go to practice, go to the team meetings, sit on the bench during the games, and then report back. Like, does this look familiar to you, or is something different
Coach
here?
on the team has been around, Nick. Every single one of them. They've all been there. One of those guys would say something like they have the most continuity from an assistant coach standpoint.
They're reproducing. They're growing exponentially. The year-over-year growth for the Kansas basketball coaching staff, it's like, if you could invest in that, man,
We need to bring
Kevin, your finance, bro.
Let's bring Danny back.
Yeah, they're compounding at an incredible rate. Return on invested coaches.
Department of Government Efficiency.
ROIC.
Seriously. Elon
It's-
needs to gut this staff.
It is.
God damn it.
First of all, Mitch took a stray. A lot of people in the comments are being like, "What do you mean not a stud?" Yeah, even someone who wasn't good, you know, like Mitch.
That was just hypothetically. I was saying like not an All-American. Sorry.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
need that. I just
That's-
need.
And he
that.
knows he's not an All-American. I think he would know that
He should know it. I mean,
and recognize
I
that.
it'd be
have no
crazy if he was walking around being like, I'm pretty sure I was an All-American one year.
I didn't check the votes, but I might have been.
I got screwed just like Big Dave got screwed in the 22 tournament.
They could put 44 up there. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Bill has jumped it. He's retiring Mitch. I think he is retiring Dave. They've retired. I don't want to get into this. That's a whole other like weird Bill thing. But like, if Bill can see the end, the light,
The end of the season or the end of his time?
his career at KU, I wanted it to be a little. If he can see the end.
But I want to make one thing very clear with where you're about to go. If Bill Self is done coaching at Kansas at any point in time, this year, next year, 5 years from now, he must retire. Because if we can't have him, nobody can. Right? Like this is it.
Oh yeah, no, it's Kansas or it's golf in Florida. Like that's. I think Bill's on the same page, and he cares a lot about. You've asked before, like I know he cares about being a steward of KU basketball. So I can't imagine he's going out this way. But like, it is weird still that if he can see the end and like is just not punching quite as hard as he used to. Like with his anger, it's such a weird thing to care about. But it's also like this isn't again. It's abnormal. The post game quotes have been weird. He said he played KJ and whoever, I don't know, like said he didn't play Shaq and Flory because they weren't able to score, which is really just like bizarre.
Isn't that the least Bill Self comment like of all time?
It is that line is bullshit. Like it makes no sense. It's
so
not
weird.
what he cares about. That was
I
the
want
weirdest
burners.
one to me.
uh,
What?
I want burners. I want guys who can get their own. I want scores on the floor.
it's like never been his like, dude. I should have probably started the episode with this question, but hypothetical: if Jeff Long were still the athletic director at Kansas, would Bill Self be on the hot seat?
No.
Like,
God,
if
no.
Jeff Long were the AD, I'm convinced
Jeff wanted
Long-
him out.
Jeff wanted him out.
A lot of
If he
people
were
are
still
convinced.
here, I think he'd be like, time to pull the plug.
Oh,
Can we
it
not
would
talk
be-
about that
we'd be in
fucking twerp
bad shape.
on here anymore?
I don't think people realize how
Correct.
bad it was.
It's so bad.
But it was cool when
Really
he did the. It's cool when he jumped in the pool.
Oh man.
The best thing he did was have Snoop Dogg, but the worst thing he did was
Facts.
apologize for Snoop Dogg.
No, it was even better that he apologized. Actually,
It's actually great. Yeah, you're right.
except for the part where I say I don't care about engagement. That night I cared about engagement because that was the best night KU Twitter's ever had.
It was
The,
awesome.
the mascot dog carrying around a 6-foot blunt.
Oh, it's so good.
Money gun at the players.
Dan Wolken, I'm not a prude.
Look at this. Look at this.
The furthest thing
Like
from
this.
a prude. I'm a deviant.
Kevin is holding up $100 Snoop dollar.
I got one
from that
framed.
night.
I got one framed.
That's what he shot at the players.
With the marijuana leaf.
Bill was so mad about that. That was an all-time
front and center.
fury.
Guys, we got Big Monday in the field house tomorrow
Fuck!
versus Iowa State. So KU tweeted this out like 2 hours ago. They tweeted out Big Monday in the field house tomorrow, and then it's like a highlight tape. Can I just read you guys some of the replies to this tweet from the official KU basketball account?
Yes.
All right. First one. Doesn't hit like it used to. Thanks, Bill. No one cares anymore. Another L for Cans ass. What happened to the team I love? Another historic collapse incoming. If Flory isn't in more than KJ, then I'm turning it off. And the best one, fuck no. Just gonna lose again. I would know, is this still active? Does somebody know? Is KU still undefeated all time home Big Monday games?
Yes.
History.
Whoa,
History
really?
is at stake.
I'm pretty sure. I don't remember one, and they were as of 2022. So
In the year of streak breaks.
The comments are- the comment-
37-0.
Comment section is good for this. So yeah, 37-0. I'm shocked it didn't happen. Oh yeah, all the losses last year were.
Anybody want to know the line?
yes, very much so.
One.
Can we guess
it?
first?
Sure. I just
They're
looked
gonna
it
be
up.
favored. They're gonna be favored at home.
I don't think so. Next seems to say yeah.
Iowa State
I'm
minus
gonna
one.
I'm gonna say KU minus 1.5.
I was gonna say Iowa State 1.5. Are they favored?
No,
Pick 'em.
KU is favored. What are we doing?
I told you, dude.
2.5.
is it?
Iowa State had a bad week.
2.5.
My bad.
They did just get 19 balled.
There's no way KU is going to be a home dog against anybody.
They already were
I know.
and lost.
Kinda.
They were really good that game for like
Kinda lost. I mean, they
39
lost,
minutes.
but they like 99.8% of the time they shouldn't have lost, or whatever the number was.
I mean, yeah, yeah. Like Okay, that was a bad.
Okay,
take
so
by
somebody's saying 48-1 all time on Big Monday. KU is, but Self's never lost. Self is 37-0, I believe.
KU's going to win.
I got a question for you. When's the last time KU beat a tournament team? Is it Duke? Does KU have a win versus a tournament team in Big 12 play?
This is a great question.
I hate this question. I don't want to know the answer.
I need to pull up bracketology. Is UCF or like Arizona State?
They're right there. I don't think Arizona State is, but I think UCF.
Cincy.
Is Cincinnati a tournament team? I have no idea. Okay, I'm pulling it up here. Okay.
I'm seeing KU -2.5, guys.
Okay, it says UCF is in the last 4 in. So hey, two tournament wins in conference play. Arizona State is first 4 out.
Maybe
So
It's
the
pretty
fact-
grim.
So it's like maybe you might have 2 wins versus tournament teams.
Oh man.
AB says, can we talk about the impact the past few years on student turnout? Is it warranted? Like, I'm a little concerned. Like, if they don't show up well, like the students are gonna boo them.
No,
Like,
they're not.
yeah, they are.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
they will.
They're not, dude.
I'm telling you. Listen to the end of the Houston game. Go back and listen to
Well,
the broadcast.
Because Self called
They will-
students out. This is a Lance Leipold issue.
That's true.
Like, don't call the students out and then play like shit, because you are then put on blast.
Correction,
Is
it's a
this
Kelly
Lance's fault?
Leipold. It's a Kelly Leipold
True.
issue.
I haven't heard from her in a while, but
I would love to hear from Kelly.
Wait, so
Lay it
Bill
low.
is so how come Bill can take
wait.
the Kelly Leipold approach and he gets a pass?
Well, because he's not a coach's wife. So
Done it once in 20 years, won a lot, said it like pretty gently, didn't say that he didn't say it. Like he's like, the students could be a little better. And then 5 minutes later, they're like, what do you mean by that? And he's like, I didn't say that. That's false. Like, everyone would be like, all right, well, fuck that.
he
That's
said
insulting.
if he asked around, it just doesn't have the same student section that they remember.
But you know what? I would argue that I've been saying that since like 2017. And guess
Everyone
what?
has said that.
But guess what? They kept winning at home.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, it's not the same, but it didn't hurt the last 10 years of Kansas basketball.
Lance, they're talking about me again. You got to
put a stop to this, Lance.
I need to smile. This is the only thing. What would be more depressing, a blowout or a 1-point loss?
A blowout.
Yeah.
A blowout.
Out.
Yeah.
Getting blown out at home, dude.
Iowa State got beat by 20 points to K-State. A 9-11 K-State at home.
They're gonna be so pissed.
Wait, so Kevin,
They're gonna be so pissed.
Mech, you're fully on
Fuck.
board with a KU win over Iowa State on Monday.
Lock it up.
Are you investing?
touching? Are you going to touch that 2.5?
I don't like the line. I wish KU was an underdog.
Here's
You know what he's gonna do? You know what he's gonna do? He's gonna do what he always does.
The
It's
live
gonna be
bet.
like 6-2,
Middle.
and he's going to live bet it. He's gonna put like 4 months mortgage
how
on
much
it. He's
money I
gonna
put
show
on-
us he made so much money. It happens every time.
Do you know how much money I made on the other team plus 9.5 last game?
At what point?
So I bet KU because I thought they were going to win the game. I had a nice little KU bet. And then, because what were we, 1.5 point dog? I had a money line bet on KU plus 130. That's what it was. And then when we got up by freaking 20, I was like, I have to hedge some of this away. And I did. And then I hedged more of it away. And then I was actually more exposed on the other side because
I did very similar, except for then when KU went down with like 10 minutes, I
You
ended up
went back-
betting again the other way.
did. I almost did.
I almost triple middle, like triple middle.
Yeah. Don't judge us. Don't you shake your head. This is how you make money in college basketball betting.
Nick,
Get
I
on the
know
right
it is,
side
but
first and then hedge and hope you middle that shit.
Nick, you are on. I'm getting serious. Like we've complained about a lot of this. We didn't even get into the pick and roll play calls, which is fine.
So bad.
The rotations, like kind of. But Nick, you're like the anti-Bill Self like takes you think is like gone too far based on what I saw on Twitter, right? Or that like that or a small majority or small vocal, not majority, vocal minority, I guess, are yelling about Bill Self. Or like what is generally like your take on this where it's where like people are pissed. But
I think I said it last night to someone. Someone was like demanding that I admit that I was wrong. Admit it. Admit you're wrong. And I was like, I said, and here's what I said. I said, it seems as though you and much of KU Twitter want to simplify the conversation to this team is good and Bill Self is single-handedly sabotaging it. And yeah, I guess I'm just not there. That is my general thesis statement on the 2025 Kansas basketball team. Yeah, shout out Kyle, who's watching. That was who it was to.
I just say like
and that's why that's why and people came at me for that. People came at me for that, and all I was trying to say was like, hey, I'm not saying that you guys are all wrong. You guys have got it wrong. You're a bunch of idiots. Believe this guy. He's doing great. I'm just saying that like I'm just waiting for something else to click. I'm waiting for something else to be like, oh, that's why this team's trash.
What happens if we beat Iowa State tomorrow?
We're confused.
Are people back, or are they just lost?
Been back. What are you talking about?
No, if it depends how it looks, because if KU beats Iowa State and KJ,
we cover the spread.
KJ plays 26 minutes, I think the conversation's going to persist about like what is Bill doing.
What if
26?
KJ
That'd be nice.
KJ's going to hit a game winner.
You mean
Oh,
36?
you take 26, huh?
Yeah.
I think 25 points or 25 minutes is where a lot of folks thought he should be. Like that would be okay.
But he's averaging like 27 on the season, right?
I'm going to keep arguing about this. Look at what games, like what games he played fewer in, and then also he got hurt in that Iowa State game. Also, odd to put a guy back in with a separated shoulder in the game. That was like kind of a wild play by Bill.
He wants to be out there.
But guys, baby steps, because KJ not starting, didn't start. Will KJ start versus Iowa State coming off back-to-back Flory starts?
This is a good question.
It's a great question.
I say
It would be such an FU to all of us.
I know. That's why I say no.
The biggest FU would be to start him and then pull him immediately. And then just look at the student section. Look right into the ESPN camera.
Start digging.
When
And
the
just
tip
mouth,
call
and he just
timeout.
mouths it. And he just mouths it. He calls a timeout and he looks into the camera and he just goes.
Everyone says KJ
He's
will
averaging
start.
29 minutes a game this season, guys.
Is
He's
it
like-
29?
He's down from last year. He averaged 33 last year.
And look at like the bigger.
Hey,
games.
and guys, in year 5, next year, maybe we can get him down to like 24.
Oh, God. Don't you do that to KU Twitter right now.
Well, somebody on the comment section said
on.
that he could come back for a 5th year. Is that
I'll
true?
do that right now. Can we confirm that? Can he come out for
Only if they like blanket approve the 5th year for everybody. He's not a COVID baby. He doesn't have all the extra
Right.
eligibility.
Would Bill
would
Self,
explain
okay,
how strong
given
he
the
was.
option, would Bill Self allow KJ to come back for a 5th season?
Yes.
Oh, I don't think so. I think
don't think
even
so.
Bill would know. He knows it's time to turn the page and like get rid of these seniors.
He's ready, and I think they're all ready. I'm telling you, he is ready. I think they're all ready. You can see it on them. And if he's looking down there and Flory's camp is like, we'll come back, but he can't. Like you're taking Flory.
Goodbye, Flory. That's what he would say. He would say, good luck in the
Foggy.
ACC or wherever you go.
You know what's so crazy about it is that Bill has pushed out much better players, much better. I mean, it wasn't like it was a mutual exit, but like if Wayne Selden wanted to come back for a fourth year, Bill would have told him like, Josh Jackson's starting and playing 34 minutes a game. So you can come back if you want. Like, this isn't going to be what it is. Like that was an actual quote that I heard back in 2017, whatever it was. I have to believe that if KJ was like, Coach, did you hear the good news? They're giving us all an extra year of eligibility. I have to, for my sanity, believe Bill would be like, oh, KJ, but why didn't you come talk to me first?
No, I think he'd say, "Oh man, that's fantastic. Where are you going to play? What master's program are you going to enroll in at UCLA?"
I think you'd say, hold on 1 minute, and he signs a letter of resignation. It's sitting on his desk with his letterhead and Bill.
Sorry, it's KT's team now.
No, it's been signed. He just dates
Like
it.
Norm.
He just dates it. Today's date.
I don't think so. Someone asked, like, would Storr or Ryland come back? So Storr and Ryland both do have eligibility. Something substantial would have to change for AJ Storr to return. I would be shocked. Like something would really have to change. We'd seen some pretty big pivots before from Bill once push comes to shove. I would be shocked. The other one, Ryland, a little more up in the air. I don't think he's thrilled with his playing time right now, and he hasn't been basically the whole season. So I hope that they fix it, or that happens, or like, you know, you can get a check and make it work. So like, I don't know yet about Ryland. I think it's probably not looking great right now, but that's because the team's not looking great, and those things can get fixed. Bill's generally pretty good at convincing people of things.
Are we all in agreement that like you want Ryland back next year, and you don't want Storr back next year?
Yes.
Is that a consensus?
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I would
Sign
love
me
Ryland
up.
Give me Ryland back.
Zach gone. I don't care.
I think KJ is more likely back than Zach.
Yeah,
I think
that's
KJ's
fair.
more likely back than AJ Storr as well.
Facts.
Yeah.
KJ coming back, if he has eligibility, you guys are so wrong. Like, Bill would let him come back.
Oh, I don't even want to think about it.
I don't care
The
what
part that
To do what? What is it that you would say you're going to do here
mid-range.
in your fifth year?
mid-range.
This is the year he learns how to shoot threes. Bill, all offseason, he's shooting a lot of threes. You could do like, do you want Ryland back? The one like happy other side of the KJ thing is you could get Zeke Mayo back if that flips again. That'd be fun.
What would he
think
do?
so.
Okay, so that's the hypothetical now. Would you take KJ for a fifth year if it meant another year of Zeke?
No.
Oh,
Damn.
You know, KU is
No.
like
Zeke, I don't care how bad he played the other night. Zeke is so good, guys. He's so good.
Nick, the numbers aren't what you think they are. It's like bad. I know you don't care about numbers, but like it's not close and it's weird and it bums me out. But also
It's
he
not
plays-
close to so he's awful.
I think you'd be surprised.
All right, give us some.
But
of
no,
your
he's not
numbers.
awful. Like it's what he's playing with 1 for 15 from mid range. So yeah, he's playing with 4
shoot
centers.
threes, and that's it. That's the only thing we've talked about for him. We've said this before. I don't want him to shoot anything but threes.
Threes or like wide open back cut layups. Just
Nope. I don't even want to shooting those. Only threes.
okay. I'll accept the layups. Mac does not want the layups.
I don't want layups.
Oh my god, Darren Peterson on the bench with
Coming off
with
the bench.
KJ playing. No one wants Zeke and KJ. No one is okay with that.
Hey, earn your stripes. Earn your stripes. Darren Peterson, below the rim player. KJ Lawson, above the rim player.
KJ Adams.
Sorry. Oh, KJ Lawson or KJ Adams?
Would you rather have KJ Lawson at his current age?
Right now.
Okay, hold on a second.
Give
So
me
he
KJ
is
Lawson.
probably
you got
26
beat
or
right
5. Lawson, 25, 26.
KJ Lawson was actually the older of the Lawson brothers.
the
People
old one.
forget that.
He was the old one. He was a
He
big
did
bro.
some things at Tulane, I believe.
He did some things. He hasn't played basketball since 2021, like professionally.
All right.
Take
I
him.
will pass.
The funniest end of the season is a KJ Adams Final Four MOP.
I'm telling you.
Is it?
I will create a
that the-
song if it happens.
People have asked for a song in the comments this episode.
What's
By
the
the
song
way.
going to be about? I don't have any inspiration.
You can't do a sad song.
No, I don't want to do a sad song. I need
Yeah.
like the player who's going to turn things around song. I would do
Mhm.
that. But we don't have that. We don't have that yet. I
Just
really
make a song about KJ Adams having 11 dunks in the title game.
Just a fictional.
So
end.
Yeah,
now Kevin's
fictional.
just a soothsayer. Whatever he sings will come true.
like an American Pie song situation.
I kind of did for Remy. I did give Remy a lot of the Remy song came out before the whole thing went down, for the record. So
True.
Someone
Who did save the season of these two guys here in the corners? Who
Yeah,
did
it's
it?
a combination. It's an alley oop.
Yeah. It's an alley oop.
It's not. It's bigger than just one person. It's the two of us.
I did shout out Mike in the song.
Vern's tweet fried. I know it. The someone asked like what would this conversation look like if Remy didn't go crazy and save that team, because Remy did save their ass.
Okay, but you
Because he
know,
was awesome. Someone
yeah,
asked-
exactly. I hate
Sure
when
the
people
song.
do this. I hate when people do it in football too, and they're like, "Yeah, well, if he didn't have that 90-yard touchdown run, he would have only had 60 yards rushing." It's like, yeah, but he did do that thing. He did have the 90-yard touchdown. Bill Self did bring Remy Martin to Kansas, and despite what everybody thinks, like, he did push the right buttons and get him to show up at the biggest time. And you can say that, like, oh, it was all Remy. Remy saved Bill. I'm like, fine. If that's the way you want to live, and just assume that Bill is a country bumpkin just like fumbling his way through a Hall of Fame career, that's fine. But like, you don't get to play this game where it's like, what if you take out that one good season? What if you take out that national championship? Then what's Bill's resume? It's like, well, he won. He won the title. So
He won.
It's hard to win the title, by the way. I don't know if
Super
Kansas fans
hard.
were aware of this. Also, like, if Remy Martin, I think Kansas fans would basically do anything he said. He could start a whole cult on Twitter.
Remy,
I mean, basically our cult. Yeah, I think that dude is.
I might.
he is an
Remy
he
song.
is an interesting guy.
I mean, like, I think I've heard from some people who are around, then basically been questioned like if he even existed or not, like if he's real or just like a figment of our imagination.
I love that. Yeah,
Like, did Remy really happen?
You think
Can
like
you song
Ochai and
about
like
that?
those guys just wake up and like rub their eyes and just think about number 11? They're just
Yeah,
like,
I think sometimes they do. I'm not even kidding. Like, it's kind of what I'm saying is
Oh,
that they're
man.
all just like, what?
It's like, Mike, you're gonna wake up one day. You're gonna wake up one day, and you're gonna bring up Remy to us, and we're all gonna say, "Who?"
no,
You
I was
dreamt-
there. We were there, right?
You, me,
You dreamt
The
it,
corner
man.
threw
Carolina. The guy
Hanging
threw
in
up
the
on
air?
the court. Coach K's last season was in that Final Four.
Then we're gonna walk you back to the institution.
All right, here. This is my favorite comment tonight. Alex on Twitter says, "How many straight second-round exits for you guys to question Bill?"
Well, to be fair, he wasn't around for one of those.
It's true. That was
That's
Norm.
true.
That's on Norm's resume, bud.
That's on Norm's resume.
And I'll tell you what, one more second-round exit for Norm, and I'm gonna start questioning.
I'm in on that. I wouldn't. Okay, so like 2 more?
What do you mean to question him? To call for his head on a stake?
But like that's the thing with the way people
don't
talk
know.
about Bill right now is people have takes on Bill, but I feel like they try to present them as delicately as they possibly can because there's nobody, if there are very few people that are actively saying like, no, Bill needs to go, like fire Bill. No one's quite doing that.
Yes, they are.
Everyone's-
I think there's a
Twitter,
few people.
I haven't
Few
seen
people.
that. I maybe seen like one or two.
Search a hashtag, brother, because I feel like it was trending.
Was it really?
No, but it felt like it on my mention.
Are we sure these aren't like K-State burners?
Fire Norm.
Yes, no, it is 100% KU people.
I did search Bill Self, and all it was a referendum on KU fans. It was like fans of other programs
Yeah.
saying like, wow, you would think Bill Self murdered someone at midcourt the way KU fans like, are treating him right now.
It did feel like that for like a good like hot minute after the game.
That he murdered someone.
He murdered us.
But like, that's what everybody keeps saying. Is like, when will you guys question him? I'm like, buddy, I have questioned him more times than I can count over the last 20 years. But the reason why I pick and choose my battles at this point is because a lot of times I questioned him and I was wrong. Like, and he figured it out. And I was like, oh yeah, maybe I should shut the fuck up.
Maybe I should just shut the fuck
But I agree with
up.
Foggy. Foggy just said no one seriously wants him fired. I think deep down, there are not real
think people
human
are-
beings that are like, yes, this program would be better off with anybody.
I think people are a little concerned. And I think that's fair. And
That's
it
fair.
kinda
Yeah, I think
sucks.
that's
like,
more than fair.
I do think it's fair. We've talked about like things don't quite sound like we're used to seeing them sound. They don't quite look like we're used to seeing them look. We know the landscape is changing. There are real concerns. At one point I was like, I kind of miss the Nick Timberlake era. At least that was funny. And like that sucks. I was down bad. All right.
Too bad.
Anyone else been like, at least there's not some like comical thing to laugh at flailing around out there.
Yeah.
There would have been a Nick Timberlake game at some point so far this season. There would have been at least one game where they're like, Timberlake played 24 tonight. I hope everyone's aware if he were on this team, it's not like he would just be 12th man.
Oh,
He's tried every other lineup combination.
He would play. Hey, Diggy's playing.
Whoa, I thought we weren't doing any more Diggy slander on this show.
I'm cool with Diggy, but like he's gotten a shot. How does the most one 5-man group play 6 minutes? That's crazy. Super unusual.
Well, I just don't get what you
Searching.
I mean, that's what it is. You're searching because what do you expect to figure out in like a 3-minute run?
I was. He cannot help himself in these situations. It's weird. A national media guy saw some of the chatter and wrote me and was like, look, I got to be honest. I don't know how I'd fix this team. And then I was like, did you see this? And it was the 3 straight DeJuan KJ pick and rolls. And they were like, no, like, okay, that makes no sense. And that's basically where everyone's kind of at who watched it. Like, what in the hell is going on? It's weird.
Yeah. I feel like I usually take that intellectually lazy, stance of I am just a guy watching the games and he is way better with a whiteboard than all of us combined. And he sees it all and we just see snippets in games and he sees all of it.
Sure.
But the weird stuff is just louder this year. The lack of Flory is loud. The weird shit with the wings is just really loud, and I don't know what to make of it. Are you serious?
Mike has a ticker going. Mike has a ticker going across the bottom of the screen that just says #FireNorm. And the only reason it's funny to me because it's like, what if we just use this as a movement to distract from what's actually going on at Kansas?
We got to do something about this.
If we can get everybody behind this, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, like we've found ourselves a scapegoat."
Should we say
I
like
don't
the
endorse this.
I don't.
what do we
either.
do? How do we
We're just
distract
trying
everyone?
shit. We're just trying shit, Kevin.
Is it the plane crashes? That could be the
is it?
distraction.
Wow.
What's behind that?
He went there. He went there, folks.
If you want a distraction, I just found out who I'm playing with on Wednesday in the Pro-Am.
Uh-huh.
I'm playing with Jordan Spieth and Joel Damon.
You're at the Waste
What?
Management Pro-Am?
Yeah, pretty excited about that.
Just a threesome? No four-ski?
It's a 5-some, four AMs, 1 pro. We play with Spieth in the front 9, Damon on the back.
Tell Jordan I said hi. We went to high school together.
No kidding.
I'm thinking
I mean,
you'll have... I'm
A
thinking
few
you
years
haven't-
ahead, yeah, but I mean, he should know me. Same grade school too. We'll talk off the air.
I think that back nine's going to be pretty fun.
That's what I thought.
What do you think Jordan's gonna think about the KU team?
I'll ask.
Nothing.
I'm going to ask. I'm going to follow Gary around.
Film it.
You know, you can talk to him about Luca quite a bit. You guys could share some stuff there.
Just to be clear, Kevin, Saturday consisted of KU blowing a 21-point lead to Baylor, and then his favorite player on his favorite professional team getting traded for a bag of peanuts. And I think this is a lesson to be had for Kansas basketball, is that no matter what you think of Bill Self, he's not as dumb as the guy running the Mavericks. Like, there are dumb people out there running sports teams. We like to think everybody earned their position, and like they had to have been good at something to get this far.
This is
Bill is good. Bill is not just some oaf who's stumbled through his basketball career.
He's not Nico Harrison, a guy who should be selling Nike Dunks at your local fucking mall.
How do you really feel?
That's his calling. He's a shoe guy.
KU's
Anyways,
tomorrow. Book it.
Okay, let's wrap up.
I bet on it
Predictions.
right now.
Predictions. I want to know who wins. Does KJ start?
Okay.
That's
KJ
it.
does not start. KU wins 75-71. Covers the spread.
I was going to say by 4. I'm
Does-
with Kevin.
and
I'm
does
with
Bill
Kevin and
Self
Kevin.
And does Bill
together on
Self
this
call
one.
out the team after the game?
No, we're going to
No,
win.
he says this is my favorite team I've ever coached in the press conference.
75. Book it.
I've never seen more grit. I've never seen more heart from a roster I've had in 22 years here.
I'm gonna freak
I'm
the fuck
tweeting
out.
it right now. I'm tweeting it out.
And Gary could probably tell you that better than anybody. Gary, you ever seen a team with more heart than this team?
I love it when he talks to Gary Bedore so much.
Well, I mean, Gary could probably tell you.
That's my favorite part of the press conference is when he talks to Gary Bedore.
Are we ever going to get like, because it's also like Bill has not went very meta this year with like, oh, I know everybody thinks KJ sucks. Or I know they don't like the seniors. Like, it doesn't seem like he's operating on the same wavelength as his fan base is.
I actually wondered this. I wonder if he knows just how
Much he's getting crushed.
or his players have gotten crushed. I'm not sure.
I would argue that Bill has gotten crushed more than any player on this team has.
No, I think KJ has gotten crushed the most.
Yeah, but KJ is like by default an indictment
That
against
makes
Bill.
sense. No.
You know what I mean? If you're saying KJ sucks, you are therefore blaming Bill for continuing to trot him out there for 30 minutes a night.
But it's been KJ. But like, yeah, sure. Do you think he knows this though?
That's my question. I don't think he's on Twitter.
I don't
So
think
is
he
there
knows.
is there a person on staff that's letting him know, or that he goes to and is like, "Hey, what are people saying?"
I don't
I
think
think
so.
that's the thing.
I think he would have said something.
He knows, man. Like he knows.
I don't think he knows
yeah.
how. He knows there's discontent, but I don't know if he knows exactly or maybe how bad it is. Because he
What
would have
if,
said
though?
something. He would have
What
said
if?
something.
What if he thinks KJ's a fan favorite? What if somebody were to break the news to him like, yeah, people are getting pretty sick of KJ, and he's like, what? Wait, you're telling me they don't like KJ? He's our best player.
I thought they liked the dunks. Only reason I've been playing them so much is because I thought everybody loved having them out there.
I don't want him out there.
Shit.
Yeah, you
I
think
feel
I want him
free.
out there? I'm just trying to
Oh
keep
my
everybody
God.
happy.
feel like a weight has been lifted off my chest. I can play who I want now.
Maybe this is the key. Somebody just needs to let him know, like, hey, we're good if you want to bench KJ.
I worry a little though, like about like what exactly like. I just don't think the assistants have much of a voice.
Well, good thing we got 9 of them.
The fist pumps are electric. Bill's like,
Maybe if they
fist
started a union, they could combine powers and
Nick.
take on Bill.
Very close. Instead of a union, I was thinking more unison. Maybe if they all talk at the same time, the message will be loud enough to where he'll be like, "Oh, I hear you now." When you're all talking individually, I cannot hear you. But when you all talk together, I get it. I totally get it. Y'all should have been doing that earlier this season.
What's like a hashtag people do for unionizing?
And you know what's so funny about the consistent coaches? It's like, I always took Bill for like a guy who likes to keep a tight circle. It's like, my trusted confidant. You're the only ones we need. We don't need a big... Like, at what point was he like, yeah, we could use another one? No, yeah, we got a spot. We got a spot. Oh, for Chase Buford, anything. Come on down. What do you mean he's just been around? Like, he can't, like, what? He can't say no to people? He can't say, sorry, staff's full.
These
we
are
already
the
got
guys who
7.
have been around. Are the
No, I
walk-ons
know.
not even on the bench? It's weird.
No, they sit behind the bench, dude. It's
Yeah,
insane.
that's crazy. I didn't know that was real.
Imagine getting to play for Kansas, and they're like, wow, you play for Kansas, so you're sitting there on the bench? Well, behind the bench.
I'm in the third row, technically.
When the team huddles during timeouts, I get to stand by and listen. But I'm not like technically on the bench. No, I sit next to a guy eating popcorn and nachos.
So
I have
those
to
guys
climb
don't
over
get
some season ticket holders, but I make my way to the huddle. I hear about half of it.
Those guys are just getting the shit kicked out of them every day for hours on end by KJ, and then he's just putting them in the third row.
So that Doc Sadler can keep collecting benefits for another year. It's unbelievable,
Doc needs health care. Is that too dark?
bro.
That's how I know. That's how I know Mech is preoccupied right now because he's not. He doesn't have his dukes up.
All right, guys. I'm tweeting at waste management or texting waste management stuff over here. Did someone just talk shit on Doc Sadler?
No, it didn't happen.
Nope.
Don't you do it. Don't you do it.
It wasn't me.
We're
I
back
was
on
letting
the
you
coaches.
know.
We're back on
I
the
was narc.
coaches.
KU by 4. I have to go. Love you guys.
All
Love
right.
you.
Bye, Mac.
you, Mac.
We need predictions from everybody else. So, will KJ start? Will KU win?
Oh yeah, I'll say. I'll go. I don't think KJ is going to start because he made that move, right? Like he tried. So I think he'll stick with that and hopefully watch the tape. Does KU win? They've been a lot better at home. I'll say yes. I think they probably do win too and cover. Zeke will make threes because it's at home. Does Mike have a mohawk? No, I'm just like sad and balding and bald basically. So my hair.
He had a full head of hair when the season started.
It's true. It's true. So did Bill actually.
Kev?
I had the same thing as Meg. He's not going to start KU by 4.
We're on the same page. Yeah. Does anyone think something different?
Yeah, I think KJ does not start, and
Go ahead.
I'm taking Iowa State by 1. I
You
just
really
like.
think so?
When's the last time they beat a good basketball team, man? It's been over 2 months. So they beat a
beaten
good
them for
basketball team.
long
We can talk about
stretches.
like tournament team. They have not beat a good team in 2 months. And
But they've been close. They've been up on one by a lot.
Iowa State would
this
have
is
to
the
lose
this is
3
the
in a
stoops
row?
we've fallen to, where we're just like, yeah, but they're playing competitive basketball. It's all we want at Kansas.
They want to win. They do want to win.
I'm not convinced that that's true, actually, Kevin. I don't know beyond a shadow of a doubt that this team wants to win. I think they'd like to win. I think that would be nice. I don't know that they need it. I don't know that it fuels them.
Right.
I think the new Anthony Edward, the new KU low AE1s getting released is what fuels them.
I think
They
it's
got those right before the Houston game. Man, that
Yeah.
worked out.
probably their box score that's going to fuel them. Like I said, I don't think they're on the same page.
But
playing for
yeah,
each other.
yeah, because then that's just it. It's like we keep waiting for this trigger moment that's going to wake this team up, that is going to get them to route. We thought it was going to be after the Mizzou game. We thought it was going to be after, God, now I'm losing track, the West Virginia game. Then we thought maybe it was going to be after the Iowa State game. Houston blowing that lead. I don't know how many times I can keep coming off a tough game and be like, oh, this will be the one. Now everything's going to click into motion. I'm kind of resigned to the idea that, like, until I see it, I'm not going to believe it's about to happen.
In the words of Remy Martin, just wait till March. What if AJ Store's just been saying that the whole time? Just wait till March. I don't think that's...
not.
No, I know he's not. He's not. I don't know either. Again, my biggest problem with the Baylor game was how predictable it was. As soon as it started, it was like, all right, well, this is like it looked exactly how you thought it would. And that is really, really maybe like the worst part again to me. Is just we've seen it for 3 years in a row. So
This fucking Baylor game, I just want to say I knew it because whoever I was watching the game with, because I considered going like all the way until Saturday morning, and I was like, okay, I'm not driving down there. And at halftime, they were like, "You probably wish you would have gone to this one, huh?" And I go, "Not really. Don't feel good." Didn't know it'd be that bad though.
Do we know if anybody on Iowa State plays for Montverde or played for Montverde Academy? Because if so, Fran, I promise you, will not shut the fuck up about it the entire game. Is he getting paid per Montverde mention? He brought it up 20 fucking times. They're like, oh, well, this kid last year, Montverde Academy. And he started just going over other Montverde players that weren't even in the game and talking about how many are going to get drafted. Like, I don't give a shit about this right now, Fran.
I got pissed.
I happen to know that Fran lost his credit card in the city that I live in. Whoever's got it, keep swiping it. Keep subscribing to shit.
Just subscribe.
Mike is pulling up a tweet from Fran Fraschilla. It says, one last thought on officiating. Why would anybody do this job at any level? Go to a Little League game, AAU tournament, or a high school game, and parents and fans are complete idiots. Yeah, you. He really had to add that last line in. Yeah, if you're reading this, you're an idiot. You're an idiot who's at AAU games screaming at referees. Does Fran enjoy his line of work? Does he like communicating like stories and games to basketball fans, or does he just like lording over anybody he graces his presence with?
He's the size of a third grader. Okay? That's all you need to know.
Little Fran. We need a better Fran nickname. And that's my new distraction for the year. Is just fuck that guy.
I wasn't
He's a
like
narc.
for
That guy's
so
a
many
pure
years.
narc.
I was like, I don't really see the problem with Fran. He seems to be complimentary when it was like first to take that Fran sucks. But now I can't stop paying attention to when he's on a call. I'm like half paying attention to the game, half paying attention to what he's saying. At one point during the game, he said, I think it was at the end of the first half, he goes, I went back and watched all of AJ Store's Big Ten tournament games from last year. And then he just moved on. He didn't add anything. He was just letting you know. He was grinding.
He was in those games.
He was grinding tape on AJ's Store, but there was no conclusion or insight gleaned from that.
No, he had to get back to coaching Baylor on how to beat Kansas and how to win that game. He's always coaching. He's always I feel like he's always coaching the opposition.
Or talking about the refs.
Or talking about how he used to coach.
Not very
This
well.
guy is a narc. And I do not like narcs.
God, can you imagine a worse lineup of like college basketball analysts on ESPN than Fran Fraschilla, Seth Greenberg, and Jay Williams? Why can't we just get Billis? Why can't we get Billis tomorrow? Can't
There's
get
a
one
series-
Billis game?
They're ruining this sport.
That's what they
It's the
want. That's their
ESPN
mission.
crew.
They hate this sport and they want to take it down. And they're going to use their mouths to do it.
So weird the way you said that. Could have said voices, you know, but it was mouths. Oh,
That's right.
do you guys want to wrap this up? Anybody been sitting on a take the last hour and a half that you're ready to fire off?
I do want to like we talked earlier about like
here we
them
go.
not
Strap
them not
in.
liking each other. I don't think that's it. I don't
Okay.
think they have a problem with each other.
So they just hate Bill.
Yeah.
They collected. Why don't they rally
I think
around
they're
it then?
confused. Well, I've wondered if that was on purpose. I truly have wondered if Bill's like it's like a Herb Brooks thing, the miracle coach, where
Yeah.
like he got them to be a team by making them hate him. I've wondered that, but it doesn't seem to be the case here because also the players who play the most are the ones who are like in his good graces.
Yeah,
And,
KJ's like, what are you
he's-
talking about? He's great.
I think he's kind of like in it unintentionally like created that, but they don't necessarily have a problem with each other. I just think it's like he is all about these things of like toughness and trust, and like, well, they don't totally trust. They don't like trust him, and that's weird because he's great, right? But like at the same time, they're saying the same things we are.
Why can't he see it? And by the way, if that is the strategy to get everybody, get all the players to hate me, my advice would be maybe try a different one.
Or don't talk about oranges. Maybe light them up. Like it is a it'd be a I don't know, it's like not impossible, but should they just trust him automatically? Or at some point, or like why doesn't he see it? It's like control in principles and he won't give it up. And I think he is willing to for some reason this year, like live with it. I don't know. Like he's never done that. He cares about winning more, but he also really, really likes being in control.
You
And
know
the other
what?
thing is like hedging screens with Hunter.
See,
Like, it
now
doesn't
I'm
make
getting-
sense.
But see, now I'm getting going again because it's like, all right, Bill loves KJ. We've established that. Bill loved Mitch. Mitch wasn't playing 30 minutes a night. Who's more of a program guy than Mitch? Like, did all the right things, practiced hard, was a good leader.
What if he hated Mitch?
Well, then where's the disconnect? What did he not have that KJ does? I mean, truly, on or off the court, what am I missing here?
Being on bad teams.
Hmm?
What does KJ have? I mean, like, I don't know. Where it's like,
I'm just saying, he's had favorites before. Bill has had favorites before.
It's
He's
not
had guys he
seniors.
loved before. He's had, like... But what am I missing that Bill sees that he's like, yeah, but this is different. This isn't just any other senior.
because
Is it because of what like KJ's been through, like in his personal life? Like, is that factoring
he
into it?
flew by himself, I think, the day after, didn't miss a game. I do think like there's like that's real. That's something that is a very like again, I'll just go with real, right? Like that is real and legitimate and like there's a loyalty and also in the current era like rewarding the guys who do stay and do things the way he wants is more maybe top of mind or even like apparent, right? Like that's maybe part of it where it's like wanting to reward that where like it's just we've had a lot of guys when things get tough like basically just transfer out like really early on. like more and more. So I think that's also maybe part of it. Like it's a combination of things. And yeah, I've gone through a lot, and he will, and probably does. Like he wants to win for Kansas, but it's again like we're not saying not to play him.
Maybe maybe KJ sticks around next year as an assistant. He makes it an even 10, and then Bill grooms him to be the coach in waiting.
God, that would be.
Sure.
We're just Iowa football. That's basically what this is. We're running 4 centers out there, 1 running back.
So many punches, so many excited punches on the sideline.
I like the comment saying that Bill's scared of. Bill's just scared of KJ. He's scared of the punches. Physically, he's scared of physically intimidated.
For the
I
first
think
time
Bill
ever.
Bill is Bill's taller than KJ.
That checks out. Is he? Is he?
Yeah, KJ's like 6'1", and Bill's like 6'2".
Well, that's our.
No,
that's our
Kevin
center.
came up with this. Kevin came up with this idea like 3 years ago, or it was probably 2 years ago. It seems like longer. But he said the worse KJ plays, the shorter he gets. The better he plays, the taller he is.
That's right.
Yeah.
So when
it's
he's
all
struggling-
frustration level, yeah.
When he's
we
struggling,
we got a 6'2" power forward out there. And then there've been some nights where, I mean, there's maybe been a night or two where I've been like, he is 5'11" and a half out there playing
We
the
got Diggy
4
at
for
center.
us.
Diggy who can't shoot, playing at center.
They really claim he's 6'7". You know they're including the hair.
one time I tweeted that Devon Dotson wasn't 6'2", and he DM'd me. He DM'd me like, "Yeah, I am."
Delete that. I'll have you killed. Don't. I'm not.
I think it was like, "What are you talking about?" "Yes, I am." And I was like, "Oh yeah, we're just joking. It was just a joke, dude." And he's
Don't
like, "I
joke
bet
about
you."
someone's height.
And he's like, I bet you're not 6'2". It was something like that. Like, I'm taller than you, or
I may not be 6'2", but I'm taller than you, Schwert.
One of the locker room's least favorite players.
really?
Yeah.
I'm trying to see because I took a photograph with him, and I can tell you with certainty how tall Devon is. Stay tuned. Talk about something else, please. God.
Tweeted.
Remember
it,
back,
KJ.
you know what Devon reminds me is that, like, you really only need 2 good players. You really do. If they're 2 players that fit next to each other, it's like
Kansas.
Isaiah Moss started in 2020. He was a starter. Isaiah Moss is like,
Kill for Zay Moss.
wait, how tall are you, Kev?
I'm 6'3". I think he's right.
You think he's 6'2"?
I think
He's
he's
on a
6'2".
platform.
I think he's pretty damn close.
How do we know he's not standing on his tiptoes?
He might do that in all of his pictures, and that could be how he gets around it.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, excuse me, I'm going to be on my toes for this. I got called out a handful of years ago."
I don't even remember who started at the 4 in 2020 when it was Dot and Doak. Was it McCormick?
KJ probably.
He did for a while, but then they went.
me see.
KJ was like a sophomore in high school.
It's just still KJ.
They did for a while, but McCormick got hurt, right? And then they went with.
Marcus Garrett. It was like Marcus, Ochai, Isaiah Moss, Dotson, and Doak. And that team ripped off like 14, 15 straight wins to end the season. It's like you need two
Christian
good
Brown
players.
got minutes at the 4, like a lot.
Oh, that's right. That was his freshman year.
Yeah.
Better
So it helps.
times.
So it helps to have a couple of NBA players on the roster.
You know, I'm just like, they should have gotten better. And
How many NBA
don't
players does
get
this
it.
team have? 1. Flory, is he the only guy who's ever going to like be a rotational guy in the
I'm
NBA?
not sure. I'm not sure. So there's Flory. What if like
And-
AJ Store has this like Sheck Diallo NBA career where he's just kind of like floating?
No.
I would like to see. I believe Passmore has NBA potential.
But he won't be
He is
remembered
not-
as a Jayhawk. He'll be remembered as a Billiken
Got it.
after he transfers.
A Billiken.
I don't.
Billiken.
I'm just so.
Not even a Miami Hurricane or a Razorback.
It's like
Oh,
that Arkansas
Billiken.
game. And
It was
they're
the
like,
first
that
one.
was our best player, and then it's just like the dude can't. They won't give him. I don't know, like any extended run. It's just weird. It's so. It's like I gotta figure it out with AJ still, and
Try
you
to
know,
put a percentage on the likelihood of him returning, Mike.
I don't know, 50. That's I have no idea. I think they'd want him back. They based on everything like they had said this offseason. So I'll say
I bet they
60,
do.
40. I hope so. But I think it's like I have no idea. I just don't want to rule the guy out because we haven't seen him play. And I know this offseason they thought he was NBA talent. And you wonder about El Marco, though he didn't show it. He was going to be, I think, pretty good, but like, I kind of.
Would
I
El
don't
Marco
know.
have been a starter on this team?
Um,
Is that the idea?
you were probably not. He'd be competing with Zeke.
Oh, I
Yeah,
think there
he'd
would
be in
be
the
above.
rotation,
Yeah, I mean they're playing
right?
they're playing Shaq and Juan next to each
Right.
other. They wouldn't be against throwing a third guard out there. I
Right.
have an exercise for you. Take everybody that's on the roster
play.
right now. Everyone that's on the roster, including guys who aren't playing, injured, whatever. If you could have 3 guys from this Kansas team return next year, who would it be?
Of Flory.
Flory's a
Marco.
shoe-in for all of us.
Wait, can we can? Did you say we can take the?
You can take whoever you want. I don't care if they have eligibility or not.
Fuck me. This is
Well, that makes it harder.
Does it though?
I was
Because
gonna say
that's why
Ryland.
that's why
was
I
gonna-
let.
Yeah. No.
don't
I get it. There's a Dickinson conversation here. Flory, Ryland, Passmore, and that's. I don't know about that, but that's what I said.
I
Ryan
think I would.
also has NBA potential, and that's where I'm like kind of like, yeah. Nick, you
I
go.
think I would take Flory, Ryland, and Zeke.
Good
I
one.
think I need to find the nearest bridge. I gotta find the nearest bridge.
Would anybody? Well, I want to know. Would anybody take another year of Hunter?
KJ, and KJ.
No, and we're probably dumb for saying no, but no.
No,
I'm
I
ready
think
for
at
the
this
40
point, I
minutes
just
to
need something
explode.
different. I just
I
need
think
it.
you want athleticism, rim running. So I get it. I wouldn't blame either answer there, but yeah, you probably take Flory.
How are people giving 4 answers? That you can't. People in the comments, you can't give 4. There's 3.
Well, they're saying Darren's coming.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's
we'll
just doing
take
like
him.
a hypothetical lineup. Okay.
Okay.
I get it because you're putting it together now with Darren Peterson. Hell no on Hunter, KJ and Juan.
Yeah, you put Zeke next to like another scoring guard. I think
That'd be nice.
that's pretty cool.
That'd be pretty nice for him.
God, now you know what I'm doing. I'm such a nihilist now. Now I'm thinking about, oh, what are we gonna fucking hate next year?
Tien, you went
Who will be the target of all of our vitriol next season? Somebody's gonna get it.
Norm.
Norm.
Bad
Doc.
year for Norm coming. No, like Tien, you took Keys. You're hot.
Yeah,
You're a believer still.
I couldn't get my
I'm
head
still a
around
believer,
the
too.
additional eligibility that doesn't exist, so I just went with
I was confused
guys
there,
who
too.
could come back.
No, I
I
want
don't
the
know.
dog. I want it. I'm with you there. I get it. I don't know what El Marco can do when it's not a true freshman on a bad team.
El Marco is kind of funny in that
I have
like
no
he
idea.
played like every game last year. He played 33 games. But because he's out this year and everyone else has kind of sucked, we're kind of like, oh yeah, he's a fucking stud. I'm like, well, first year wasn't great. It didn't give you a lot of like things to look forward to, but because he's just simply not available this year, I'm excited for him next year.
They were like, yeah,
Less
came
of the
back in
same.
great shape. I heard all this good stuff about how Marco showed up, and I was like, oh, holy shit! Like, now it's like I'm sitting here like, well, it also seemed like a really bad injury. Is it going to be El Marco, Jamari, Jamissel, El Missile, El Marco can go, El Brico, and Jamissel?
Yeah, we just want less of the same. That's all it is.
Just different names. We just need different names on the back of jerseys.
I think we'll miss DeJuan more than we know. And
I
he
think we'll get.
frustrates
I
me
think.
too.
I think
But
we'll get over it though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when
It's
we're
not
like
like-
dunking again. And like,
Well,
there's
it's
a
just
point guard
like-
that they're guarding.
There are certain guys that you just really miss, and it's all the obvious names over the years. I just don't think that's gonna be the one that we're gonna be like, if only, you know. Wish we had a guy like that.
I mean, what if it's worse next year? Marco shattered the glass in the octagon. His brick against K-State was a historically bad KU basketball shot, at least in the modern era.
I'm trying to think of some of the other worst shots ever.
McCormick against Kentucky.
McCormick
for
against
sure.
Kentucky. Hey, who?
Clements, Dayton.
Clements against who was that against?
Is it Dayton?
Wisconsin. Dayton?
Wisconsin. It was in the Bahamas. Yeah.
Yeah, it's when Pettiford scooped it up and put it in for the win.
He let it go confidently, though. Well, I'm out here.
I think that's my favorite because Dave had too many bricks to like pick one. I know there's one. I can't even remember who it was against. Big Dave versus Kentucky. Yeah. KJ Baylor. You say KJ against Baylor's bad, but honestly, KJ at the end of what game was that in the field house they lost?
Times.
At the beginning of
West
beginning
Virginia?
of conference play. Yeah.
West Virginia. He's done it a couple times.
Yeah, it was West Virginia where the full court. That one.
Even Duke.
That was a panicked shot though, you know? That wasn't as much of like, hey, I'm open, I'm going to shoot it. It was like, there's 1 second left.
West Virginia. Duke, he shot it twice. I think he got his own rebound, just fired it right back up there.
God, the Baylor shot. Go watch it back.
Are you watching it right now?
No, I'm watching it in my head. I can see
I
it.
played it because Bill like kind of has a meltdown, and I told the national guy too, who I mentioned earlier when I was like, "Did you see this?" And I was like, "KJ should have like kind of had Hunter on that play," and he was like, "KJ shouldn't have been in on that play." that was the response. Everyone's kind of being like, "What the fuck?" I might have it here. The play if we want to see it.
Yeah, if you can play it, please play it.
I can find it. Where is it? Oh yeah. Well, it's all three. I had the 3-play sequence. I don't have
Is it the
audio,
second
though.
or third shot? Oh, we'll find
Second.
out.
Each one kind of progressively gets worse. You gotta watch. The third is really bad too. Here we go. All right, here's the first. Pick and roll. DeJuan.
He's just in the way here.
Okay,
Yeah.
a little floater. Yeah, KJ's in the lane. Here we go. Hunter. Nope.
Bang!
That's just the one I can't take any more of.
I'm doing it again. Here's DeJuan. Nice take.
Where
Oh,
are you
Cage
going?
is there. Oops.
So the
Don't
first
have to
one,
lay up,
like,
I thought.
I'll live with the DeJuan floaters. I really will.
Yes.
He's hit enough of them over the years.
Doink.
But the KJ pick and roll, where it's just like, I'm going to go into someone's chest. It's like, you're 6'3". It's not going to work.
What if I told you there's a point this year where Bill was like, we got to get more KJ action?
I mean,
How would you feel? Like after the first or second loss?
at this point, revisionist history. It wouldn't surprise me.
Kevin?
I can't say what I want to say.
Because it's like, well, he's going to be out there. So if he's going to be out there, we got to get more action so they have to guard him. Whereas, like, the alternative maybe would have been like, maybe he won't be out
But you
there.
know, I brought this up earlier. Like, if you go look at the per 100 possessions per 48 minutes, KJ shoots less than like everyone on the team. And this isn't like a defense of him. It is more of I'm marveling at how loud every shot attempt he takes is. And not even like, this isn't even like a Twitter thing. It's like, no, you notice it. You just notice watching. Like, who missed that shot on the last play? You're like, I don't really know. When KJ misses it, you're like, yeah, it was KJ. It was like,
We
know what I mean,
remember
though?
in games KU
Like-
won.
like there'll be games where he takes 2 or 3 shots and you're like, God, KJ couldn't hit a shot tonight. It's not because he's a high volume guy ever. It's just, it's so like his noticeability index score is charting at record numbers. Like, we
Okay,
haven't
so
seen
when-
numbers like these since Remy.
It's true.
And it's not always good. A noticeability index is not always a positive.
I
No.
like it.
Remy's
Nick
wasn't always a
Timberlake,
positive.
Nick Timberlake had a high noticeability score.
Absolutely.
One of my favorites. KU in conference play is in the bottom 1 percentile of paint 2-point field goal percentage when KJ is on the court. So that's the team when KJ is on the court. When
Good
he-
thing we don't have a guy on the roster that we just love feeding the ball to.
when he's off the court,
Down
they're in
low.
the 74th percentile. It's a big swing of how well they shoot in the paint.
I wouldn't give a shit about any of this if KJ was playing next to Devontae, Svi, and Malik. You know?
Oh,
He's
we
not.
love him. We love him. We need
Yes.
that. Yeah.
We'd be like, hey, we don't need KJ to score. We don't need him
Poor
to do
KJ.
anything. Just like be
Fucking
athletic.
Norm couldn't get one guy around him. Fire Norm. We got to keep KT though for the vibes.
You know Norm is watching this. You know he is, and he's just like, I can't believe I'm catching all these strays. I can't do his voice. You know his voice. It's gravelly. Hey, guess what? Guess what?
It's not Southern. It's not Southern. He's from New
You know
York.
what? That was very tropic. It went a little Tropic Thunder there.
Did go with Robert Downey Jr.
Don't do nuts. You're making fun of Norm. He's the nicest
He's
guy out
from
there.
New York.
You know what? I challenge one of you to do a better thing, Norm.
No, I will not be trying.
It's just gravelly. It's just gravelly like this. And you know, coach is gonna get him ready.
That's actually
Just
pretty
grab-
good.
No, that's really good. You rose to the occasion. You are our new fake Norm.
I've worked on my Norm before, so that wasn't like first time.
Yeah,
Had
you
that
saw me
new,
sprint out of the box, just nothing. That was good, Nick. Shouts to you. Everybody,
Can you do
please
Norm
forget.
reacting? One. Norm's reaction to this podcast.
No,
Can
it's a
you
very
do it?
limited. It's a very limited Norm.
All right.
All right.
Let's do
Let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. This is Could Be Wrong.